dug a pit and
they
put
did.
him in the ground.
Yes.
And you see, his latter end was greater than the beginning. You see, he grew from that. You see, that was the beginning of his growth process.
Jesus. See, that looked like opposition right there.
Yes, it was.
It looked like there was no way out of there. They dug that hole, they put him in, and then they left him.
And they left him.
To die.
To die.
But God had another plan.
That's right. What they meant for evil, God meant for good.
And raised him up.
And raised him
to sit in Potiphar's palace. And then ultimately over the whole kingdom. Right underneath Potiphar. He was the second in command.
Yes and yes.
So can I tell you, your place of opposition can rise you to the place of command. Oh my goodness, mother, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
And that's why a lot of times people says, well, I sow my seed. Maybe they put it on top of the ground. They didn't sow it, they put it where they could keep looking at it.
Ooh, Jesus.
And keep peeping. And it's not, and it can't grow. So that's the key to some people that are there sowing the seed. I think God want to speak to them.
They didn't release it, Mother.
It's not really sown. They kind of spread it out there.
Jesus.
But it hadn't left them.
So you mean when you sow that seed, if I'm to understand you all right, you've got to sow that seed and bury it. Yes. And you can't go back every day trying to dig it up and see, are you still in there? Are you still working? It won't grow. As a matter of fact, when you do that, are you killing the seed at that point?
Yes.
Because you exposed it before time.
Yes and yes.
You're creating an abortion.
Oh, come on.
It never took root.
It never, oh, Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
When you sow your seed, release it and let it go. Amen. Because really, when you release it, listen again, it never really leaves you. It's the physical seed that leaves you. Because I tell you, the principle remains in your life because the harvest is coming back to you. It's coming back. That's without a doubt. It is coming back to you. But you've got to release it and let it go. Don't try to dig it up again. You'll never receive the harvest.
You know, Prophetess Kelley, they got to choose between sprout and fruitfulness. Because the thing can sprout and it doesn't multiply itself again. There's no fruitfulness if it doesn't multiply itself again. And the law that creating that kind of multiplication says, I must be buried. I must be buried. Going back to this little thing, I don't even know why I did that. Took a sweet potato and left it on the window ledge. Can I tell you? Sprouted it. Shoot it out of the different joints and areas. But it never produced another sweet potato. Why? It was on the ledge, but not in the ground.
Wow.
That's right. Something the Master Prophet shared on last night. He said on page 153 in his Laws of Prosperity, that's why you need to do that $1,000 seed so you can get this manuscript. The Master Prophet on the subject of beingness, he had me read this. He said, action is the seed that must be sown, and economic prosperity, bracket, money, property, business, ownership, is the eventual crop you will reap. But prior to sowing, what does the wise farmer do? He prepares the soil. He makes it fertile by adding compost, fertilizer, nitrogen, manure, by letting the land rest and life follow to a season. He does all these things to ensure that the ground is fertile for what he intends to plant.
So when you say that, what I immediately thought of was, what do you do after you sow the seed then? So in this case, you add the compost and you add all the other things, the minerals and all that.
Preparing your heart.
Preparing your heart.
Preparing your attitude.
Preparing your attitude.
Because the way you give determines how he comes back to you. Give not grudgingly. Give not in doubt.
That's right.
Most people give in doubt. Let me see what would happen. Not because they put faith behind it.
See, when you said that, I immediately thought of this. When you sow your seed, after sowing the seed, there's nothing to do at that point but to stand and believe that the seed is going to do what it's set out to do.
Come
and
on.
having done all to stand.
Stand. You just stand. You believe that you're going to receive the harvest from the seed, and you stand. Now, don't dig it up by saying, you know what, I don't know what happened. I sowed that seed Sunday, and I don't know what happened. I ain't seen nothing. Ain't nothing happened. They told me so that $1,000 seed, I was going to get 1,000 times so many more as I am, and I ain't seen 1,000 nothing. So what happened? You know what? And here you go. I'm going to say cancel before I say this. You know, I shouldn't even sow that seed. Oh, boy. Now, why you do that?
You're digging it up.
Because then you're digging it up. And then you allow the elements to come along to uproot it.
The birds of the air will sit up on your branches.
Yes. And pick it apart. Prophet. I'm sorry. I think you were first. Go ahead, Prophet.
You know what? I just want to say this. Prophet Thompson was reading about it. There's one thing that stuck out to me in that reading there, Prophetess Kelley, and that is he talked about the dung being what? Fertilizer. So when you sow that seed and it goes into the deep and it goes into the dark, into the nutrients, into the minerals in the ground in which it needs to reproduce itself, guess what? What else do you need? When we're talking about opposition, you need that fertilizer. You need that when you know the saying, blank happens. Okay, you need that stuff to happen in your life in order to fertilize that seed that's in your position. So when you sow that $1,000 seed or that $2,500 seed or that $10,000 seed, and it appears on the outside that things may be drying up, it appears that nothing is happening, it appears that you're in a worse state than you were before you sown it, it's all a lie, because we know that is the opposition that is necessary for the seed to do what it needs to do. So what do you keep doing? It's only making you better. It's only making your seed reproduce better. It's only making your seed have the nutrients and the nutrients and the minerals that it needs. That's why you have to put that dung on top of it. So expect it. When it happens, you shouldn't say, woe is me, why is me, this shouldn't be happening. When you sow your seed, expect great things to happen, but know that it's nothing more than fertilizer that's making you better.
See, some of you want to throw the S in the garbage. You really need to use it in there and let it fertilize your stuff.
Oh,
because it's
goodness.
only out of that mess that the blessing comes.
Oh, right. And that's why the Master Prophet says, he says, this is the same process you must undergo as you work to retake control of your life crop and make it sustainable in good times and hard times.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the mess. Good. Amen. Yeah, the mess really works for you. You know, that's why Paul says in all things, he said, be thankful and give thanks in all things, for this is the will of God concerning you. Be thankful even in the mess, for if it wasn't in the mess, the blessing couldn't come. See, if it wasn't for the mess of Joseph being put in the pit, he wouldn't have been put over everything. Saved his family from the famine that was in the land. Yes. Amen. If it wasn't for the mess that was in your life, can I tell you, you wouldn't be at the point where you are now. It was really the mess that brought you here.
Yes and yes, because, you know, if Jesus had rebuked the cross, there would never have been a resurrection.
See, the cross was the mess, but look at the blessing. There's you and I. Amen. So welcome it. Thank God for it. Now, we didn't say hang out in it. No, you don't hang out in the mess, but you thank God for it. Why? Because it makes you elevate yourself to another level. Now I've got to get past this.
That's right, because you got to stop seeing other things in your situation other than God. You got to see only God, and to know that God himself will show up looking like different kind. If in the beginning of Christ appearing that you find that John the Baptist had to say, are you the Christ or come for another? Why? Because his dress type was not befitting what they were looking for. And can I tell you, sometimes God showed up in your world in a dress type that you're not looking for, but it is God working out some deep matters in you so you can come into the full blessing.
Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
So thank God for the mess.
Thank God.
Amen. I'm going to tell you, and we're going to get on and tell you why, too. Let's read on. Prophet, I saw you with the mic. Did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Okay. You know, sometimes we sow a seed, we sort of want to reap our reward the next day.
Yes.
Now,
I call that the microwave blessing. Go ahead.
Yes, but it depends on your faith now. It depends on what you're looking for. Now, are you looking a mosquito reward, or are you looking at elephant reward? Elephant reward takes longer. All right? Think about that when you sow your seed. Have in mind what you're planting the seed for.
Amen. Amen. Okay, go ahead. We're talking about opposition here, and we're gonna. There's so much in here, and I'm going to stay in terms with my time. My time says I have about 20-something minutes left. Something like. Am I reading that right? No, it's 33. Is that right?
35.
I'm going to be right in that clock, Prophet Cliff. Watch me. Here we go. Go ahead.
Doing the book, we're on page 56.
Yes.
During my trip to Greece, I went mountain climbing, a physical activity that helped me gain a better perspective on the importance of opposition and resistance in our natural lives. We climbed some vast mountains